Huh. I think we're live. I think we're live. Well, I was going to try the multi-streaming thing out real quick. But I'm curious about this Antarctica thing because
Earth that you're not allowed to go to.
I've seen this a
continent
lot.
that is larger than the United States and Mexico combined, where stepping foot there without permission can land you in prison, can get you a good ass whooping. It's not a military base, it's not a government facility, it's an entire continent. It's
Heard of this shit.
Antarctica. And most people think it's just ice and penguins, empty, worthless, white. But if that's true, why does it cost tens of thousands of dollars and months of permits to just visit there? Why is it the only place on Earth that is governed by an international treaty?
It is pretty
signed by
wild that you can't
58
go to
nations, me not being one of
Antarctica.
them? Why are
just
vast
can't go.
sections of it blurred out on Google Earth? Why is that? Something is not adding up here. I stink. I mean, I
agree.
smell something that stinks. For over a century, explorers could visit Antarctica
oh my gosh, I broke it.
freely. Scientists mapped its coastlines, governments claimed territories, and even tourists just took expeditions there to explore. Then suddenly, in 1959, everything changed. The Antarctic Treaty locked down the entire continent under the most restrictive international agreement in human history. They say it's to keep you safe, because you'll die if you go there. But locking down the entire continent? That doesn't really make a lot of sense, man. That's overkill. That's bullshit. All right, homie? Harry the Rat says that's
I agree.
bullshit. Whatever's down there, whether it be treasure, technology, or some kind of truth that
Or
we're
a
not
giant
ready for,
hole
someone decided that
that goes
the
to
rest of
Hollow
us don't
Earth.
get to know.
No, I'm
We don't
kidding.
get to know. I don't get to know. I get to speculate, and I get to
Kidding.
talk about it and have a lot of fun talking about it, but, you know, you just watch this video. Anyways, buckle up. We're prying open the coldest lockbox on Earth. Antarctica.
This is pretty crazy. To
Get to
me.
know. I don't get to know. I get to speculate. First, let's
I
start
get to
talking
talk
about it and have a lot of
mind-bending
fun
facts.
talking about it. Okay, we're gonna be talking about speculative conspiracies in the next chapter. Buckle up. This one is
open the
facts that seem like speculative conspiracies. In 1929, workers cleaning out an old Turkish palace made a bizarre discovery.
This
Hidden in
is
the archives
crazy.
was a map drawn in 1313 by Admiral Peary Rees.
Facts.
Okay, we're gonna be talking about speculative conspiracies in the next chapter. Conspiracy document is dated somewhere when it's not supposed to be dated and all that. It's real. It's in a museum, and it shows something impossible. Okay, it shows the coast of Antarctica 300 years before.
Yeah, this map always like throws me off a little bit.
How is that possible? The map doesn't just show that a southern continent exists, it shows the actual coastline of Antarctica accurate to within miles. It's in a museum. What's the big deal about that? The coastline has been buried under ice for millions of years. No one in 1513 should have known what it looked like.
Yeah, this
or
map always
how
like
to
throws me off a
find
little
out
bit.
how. Peary Rees noted on the map itself that he compiled it from ancient sources, some dating back to the 4th century BC. Long time ago. So that's really and in 1960, the U.S. Air Force analyzed the map and confirmed that its geographical details match seismic
Yeah, this
surveys
map
of the
always
actual
like
bedrock
throws me
of
off.
Antarctica.
Like, why can't you go to
How did they know
Antarctica?
that? I don't know. I'm asking you. Do you know? Some dating back to the 4th century BC. So think about what that means for all of us. Someone thousands of years ago mapped Antarctica when it was covered in ice. Someone with technology to survey an entire continent from above. Seems like.
Like, why can't you go to Antarctica?
Balls from water walls, and they got real deep down in the ocean, or whatever. And then there was a squid. Fortunately, it gets even more strange and bizarre.
I love Waterworld. It's so cringe, but it's so entertaining.
Technology to survey very recent maps is a completely different one. It shows even
Like,
more
why can't you
detail
go
of
to
the
Antarctica?
southern lands recently discovered. Rivers, mountain ranges, coastlines, a swastika, or whatever it's known as. Squid! Fortunately, it gets even more strange. With some of these geographical
Like
markers
Waterworld,
matching
it's so
the
cringe, but it's so
topography,
entertaining.
miles of ice that modern scientists only discovered with ground control radar in the 90s. How? Now, critics critics of everything. They say it's a coincidence. It's a
Coincidental resemblance to a mythical continent that does not exist, or in Theus, if that is
Well,
matching
it's so cringe, but it's so
which that's possible. Miles of ice. That makes sense. People were really good at making shit up, but they do seem to be more like precise geographical surveys of landscapes that have been hidden than they do just made up nonsense like the Voynich manuscript or something like that. Anyways, how about Lake Vostok? There's more. 2.5 miles beneath the ice of Antarctica lies a lake the size of Ontario, which is a province in Canada. This lake has been cut off from the surface world for over 15 million years. I'm gonna start referring to us as surface dwellers in the surface world. Lake Vostok, not speculative at all, it's real. Russian scientists spent 20 years drilling a hole to reach it. They finally broke through in 2012, and what they found was very enlightening from a science perspective. And
I did
how
see
we
that they're
understand
like
life on
hiring
Earth.
like fire
The lake
alarm
itself
guys,
is
though.
pristine, untouched. It's a
cool.
perfect time capsule from an age when Antarctica was green and warm, and that's not a conspiracy. It was at one point green and warm, like
Your mom.
the holy relic.
Oh shit.
Yeah!
That was
The
odd.
water samples that they collected from Lake Vostok contained bacteria that evolved in complete isolation and developed survival mechanisms unlike anything else on Earth, because there aren't many organisms that develop in complete isolation. Okay, these organisms lived in total darkness, under crushing pressure with no oxygen, and somehow they thrived for millions of years. How in the is that even possible? Scientists discovered at least 17 different species of microbes in the waters of Lake Vostok. Some represent entirely new branches of the tree of life. They feed on chemicals instead of sunlight. They transform metals in ways we're still trying to understand, and they can survive in conditions that would instantly kill any surface life from us weak surface dwellers. Now, this beyond the secrets of Antarctica has pretty staggering implications. For example, if life can exist in Lake Vostok's impossible environment, life can probably exist in other impossible environments like on other planets. Bing! Ring ding ding! Lake Vostok is just one of over 140 subglacial lakes that have been discovered beneath Antarctica. We have no
Antarctica's
idea what is in
weird,
the
man.
others,
It's like
and
the
we
moon.
can't access most of them. You can't get a drill bit that long. Believe me, I've asked. There could be entire ecosystems down there that have evolved separately from everything we know on Earth in the surface world.
That's
for
my
us surface
audio.
dwellers. Now, how about the blood
is
falls? These are real photos. What the
Shit,
fuck
I
is
didn't know
going
that
on?
was
Oh,
open.
these, don't worry about these. These are just blood waterfalls emerging from glaciers. It's just a normal
Wonder
thing,
if I had an
guys.
echo.
In Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys, which if McMurdo rings a bell, you've probably seen The Thing, my favorite movie of all time, and my favorite example of cosmic horror. In this dry valley, something bleeds from the ice. The blood falls, as they're called, look like crimson waterfalls of blood. They're pouring from a glacier called the Taylor Glacier, and the red liquid stains the white ice red. And for over a century, nobody knew why. They were just like, that's probably hell down there. But it isn't hell. It's somehow actually
Crazy.
more strange than that. It is ancient seawater that's been trapped beneath the glacier for 5 million years. It's just leaking out of it, and it's red. And it isn't just old salt water. It's got living things in it. Now, the red color comes from iron oxide, but the iron oxide isn't occurring from the oxidation of iron in the normal process. It's being produced by bacteria. Those bacteria I mentioned that have strange interactions with metal. They eat the metal, they feed on the metal, and then they produce iron oxide. How? Why? What in the heck? Oh, these little rascals have also been sealed in complete darkness for millions of years with no sunlight, no oxygen, and no connection to the surface world. And somehow they've just survived down there and created their own ecosystem where they can transform iron into sulfur compounds and use that for energy. The process by which they're doing this, scientists are still trying to understand. To be fair, they're really far away and hard to get to, so it makes sense as to why it's so difficult. So yeah, that's unbelievable. These things use sulfur and iron to live, and they don't use the sun like everything else that lives. They're chemosynthetic
Moose? How you
extremophiles is what they're actually called if you want to Google those words. I promise you won't get put on any lists. I said that. I made it plural. I said
Happy Friday
lists.
or whatever.
Lists. Okay, that's right. Lists. No, lists. I can't say that anymore.
Ooh, a promotion? That's pretty sick.
So yeah, a little blood coming out of the ground.
What are
No
you-
big
what are you
deal.
doing?
Scientists have also
Where are you
detected
working?
massive geothermal activity beneath Antarctica that doesn't
Saw you were
match any
working,
geological
but
model
I don't know
of the
where.
continent as well. Published research shows that heat flux near the South Pole measuring twice the expected values. Now that might not sound that dramatic, but it does represent millions of watts of unexplained energy generation. Is it those little extremophile chemosynthetic
Damn.
fellas chewing
Promotion
on sulfur
in
and
a
iron?
month is crazy.
Who the f knows? Something
That's
is
sick.
producing massive amounts of heat deep beneath the ice, creating vast underground hot water systems and caverns that we're only beginning to map. Ground penetrating radar and geological surveys have revealed enormous voids beneath the Antarctica ice sheet. Small air pockets, but cavities large enough to contain entire cities, and they're not natural formations. Halo reference. They're spaces that have been carved out by sustained heat sources that shouldn't exist according to our current understanding of Antarctic geology. This cave is not a natural formation. The heat signatures don't match volcanic activity, radioactive
Like
decay,
a
or any
insurance
other
thing,
known
or-
geothermal process. They're too large, too organized, and too
Like a
purposeful.
third-party
to be
insurance
honest.
thing?
Whatever's generating these things, this heat, it's been active for a very long time, and it's quietly reshaping the subworld, Antarctica from below. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
That's a bit conspiratorial, but something is going on
That's
in
cool.
there, and we don't really know exactly what it is because it's so far away and so deep down there. And recent satellite measurements show that ice is melting.
It's
from
like pretty cool
underneath
to
at
get
an
it like a
accelerated rate,
promotion
which isn't due to
after
climate
just a
change.
month.
It's from an internal heat source that science is having a difficult
cool.
time explaining.
job.
Which, by the way, is how science works. That's very normal. Or it's because it's an alien under there. What the? Haven't you seen the thing? Some pretty odd things going on in Antarctica, let's be real. I think I might go to check it out. Just kidding. Time to venture into darker territory. So the purpose of Act 1 was to show you some very interesting things in regard to Antarctica that are completely real and we have a hard time explaining. Act 2 is more of that, but like a lot crazier. Between 1938 and 1939, Nazi Germany conducted a massive expedition to Antarctica, and they weren't there for the scenery. They were there for the vril. They were on their way to Hyperborea. This operation was led by Captain Alfred Richer. He led it aboard the ship the Schwabenland. Okay, guys, you've probably heard of Schwabenland. These fellas on this expedition systematically mapped over 350,000 square kilometers of Antarctic territory, flying reconnaissance missions, dropping thousands of metal Nazi markers bearing swastikas to claim the land for the Third Reich. Schwabenland, New Schwabenland, New Schwabia. What the f is Schwabia? Da wo man zusammen große Worte sind da.
Yeah, and you've
alle
dabbled in
irgendwann
the
they called
in
this
that
area
space
that they
before
put their
though,
little
so it kind of
markers
makes
down
sense,
on
right?
New Schwabenland or New Swabia, which is a region in southern Germany, Bavaria, I'm pretty sure. Where my family's
Peach.
from. All right, guys, Bavaria. And this wasn't a small scientific expedition. It was a territorial conquest. Nazis.
Yeah,
big
it kind of
in
makes sense if
territorial
you're already in the
conquests.
insurance
So why
space.
were the Nazis up in New Schwabenland? They were there officially to establish
Well, I knew
whaling
that's like
stations
kind of what
and
your
to
last
obviously just
position
secure
was.
more territory for Germany.
Was,
but some people theorize
Right.
they may have built something much darker around these documented facts. The theory is that the Nazis discovered
Hell yeah.
warm water areas
That's
heated
sick.
by geothermal vents and established a
Congrats.
secret base called Base 211.
That's a Good
That's
Friday.
the theory. And according to this theory, Base 211 became a refuge for high-ranking Nazis after the defeat of Germany in 1945. A development center for advanced technology, including the Vril-powered Flying Bell, the Acorn. Have you seen this? Have you seen this?
I'll be honest. I'm
haven't
like
seen
streaming
it,
on YouTube,
but I've seen of it.
and I
I've
don't
seen it
know
around,
like
or
what
whatever.
their
This
rules
is what
are,
people
so I'm gonna
believe
turn my
Base 211
camera
looked
off.
like, a secret Nazi hideaway in Antarctica
just
or
a
New
second.
Schwabenland. All right. Is it real? I'm not sure. We do know that they went up there. Okay, we do know that, and they put their little
I
things.
just don't know what they're like.
I believe some of them are still up there. There is more documented
you
evidence
vape on
post-war,
YouTube? I
by
don't
the
know.
way, of U-boats and submarines turning up where they shouldn't necessarily have been, and some people believe that they stopped in Antarctica on the way to Argentina. I don't know. It's a pretty deep rabbit hole. This video is more just about Antarctica. Now
I was
on to
gonna
post-war.
try the
In
multi-stream
1946,
out
just 1 year
for a
after the
second.
Nazi German surrender, the United States launched Operation High Jump under Admiral Richard E. Byrd. I've talked about this
Then I'll go
multiple
play
times on my
some,
channel. Everybody knows this, and most people have
whatchamacallit,
heard of this
Splitgate.
story. There was a fairly large scientific expedition, a massive military operation involving 4,700 personnel, 13 ships, 33 aircraft, doing what was officially described as a training exercise that was just remarkably well armed. The operation was planned to last 8 months, but it ended abruptly after just 8 weeks. Official reports cite harsh weather conditions and equipment failures.
No, I
but
have one.
The
It's
sudden
like that
termination
weird-
of something so large scale has fueled decades of speculation. The theory.
I just don't know,
and
like,
people often
with
cite
YouTube,
alleged
every
statements
time
by
I go
Admiral
live on
Richard E.
YouTube, I
Byrd.
get
Okay,
banned.
they say he encountered hostile forces or advanced aircraft. There's a very famous story of him.
No, I have one.
You know, being taken by a UFO
I have
into the
one.
middle of the Earth, into the hollow Earth, and speaking to white Nordic aliens that had swastikas all around them and saying, "If you can't do it, it's over. You need to be a good guy." So Operation High Jump, totally real, very strange, but it's what people
haven't opened it
often
in,
cite
like, a
statements
while.
by Admiral Byrd after the event. That
Oh,
is
shit.
what the real mystery is. There is allegedly a secret journal, a secret diary that details Admiral Byrd's encounter with
I kinda
white
forget how
Nordic
to do
aliens
it.
that took him into the hollow earth that was only accessible through Antarctica. It was beautiful, green trees, green grass, blue skies, better something from the day I died. With big white tall aliens, long beautiful hair, and there's just swastikas everywhere. And they say, telepathically of course, "Do not use nuclear bombs.
Yep.
We are not Nazis. We are aliens.
Oh my God, why
We
is he
are
right there?
good guys." And stuff. People attribute that to him. You know, there's apparently a secret diary, but a lot of this stuff appears to be just entirely fabricated, to be honest. But that is the story. Now, something incredible was
I got a little
documented
guy.
during Operation High Jump. On January 30th, 1947, Lieutenant Commander David
I don't
Bunger,
know.
pretty cool name, was flying a reconnaissance mission
It's like
when he
Sephiroth
spotted something that
with,
defied traditional explanation of the Antarctic geography. A vast area of ice-free land with blue and green lakes in the middle of Antarctica. Not trees necessarily, but a significant discovery nonetheless. This discovery was so significant that Admiral Byrd himself called it by far the most important discovery of the expedition. That's before they gave up after 8 weeks, of course. Bunger landed his seaplane
like-
on one of the lakes, and the water temperature was
don't know if
38
I have the
degrees
mic down.
Fahrenheit, which is remarkably warm for
think I have the mic
Antarctica.
down.
And the lakes were filled with colored algae, and the surrounding area contained flowing water and a landscape that none of them had ever really seen before, and Byrd described it as looking like a landscape on another planet. Here's pictures of it. So it's called Bunger Oasis. It's a real documented photographed area, and
No,
it
it's
has a
like-
warm ice-free zone, one of the very
I
few
don't have
in
like the
Antarctica.
microphone. Like,
So that's really interesting. Now imagine them getting sucked into a
Down?
hole, and their seaplane
think-
gets redirected by a flying disc,
find
and then
the
there's
right
white
spot.
people with long hair, and they're saying, "Eh," or whatever the they'd say.
No,
How
it's
about
like
what looks
this is like
pyramids
basically
up there,
like
man,
where
right?
my name
Very
come
strange.
from.
Modern
is-
satellite imagery has revealed some intriguing
It's like a
features
character like
across
this.
Antarctica. Users of Google Earth have documented what appears to be pyramids, geometric structures, formations
just don't
180
use it very
feet wide
much.
by 230 feet
I should
tall,
use it more.
with straight surfaces that look artificial. Very strange things to see in an ice continent. Plus, the formations seem to remain ice-free in spite of Antarctic conditions. They're too regular and too
No, I
geometric
was like-
to be natural formations.
I was watching
and
Crip and I
unfortunately,
was
they're too
like,
isolated
man, I
and
should make a
inaccessible to
PNG,
be
like,
investigated properly,
just
especially
like
not by the public.
character just to
Me
have.
or you. Something also disturbing is when people try to verify the coordinates
But man,
of
I
these
can, like,
formations online, they
vape,
often
though.
find the locations have been removed, the images have been removed. Just across the board, information has been removed from public access or has been digitally
It's kinda
obscured when it
dorky,
comes
though.
to these
I don't know.
geometric things in Antarctica.
You know what I mean?
Also, Antarctica has become a bit of a hot spot for UFO sightings. Research
I
station
minimize
personnel,
this
pilots,
app?
and tourists have all
Oh,
reported
no, it went
unusual
away.
phenomena, which is just kind of normal now.
I guess I have to leave it up.
Disc-shaped objects emerging from the ice, lights moving at impossible speeds, structured objects caught on security cameras, things like that. Bizarre, unexplainable
No, he's not
things.
bad.
In the world of the Antarctic pyramids and Antarctic UFOs collides. In 2018, a Google Earth user claimed to have discovered what appeared to be a massive entrance in the Antarctic ice. And when people tried to verify the location, they found that the coordinates had been removed from public access and images of it had been digitally destroyed. But luckily, I have one here in this video.
I forget what like
Probably.
Crip
I don't know what
said.
Tara put up there. Thank you, though, Tara. I really appreciate it. And aside from that, scientists have also detected strange radio signals emanating from beneath the ice. An experiment called the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna experiment.
No, he's like giving
recorded
me a bunch of
unusual
shit
radio bursts
because
coming
it's
from
like,
under the ice that don't match any known
a
natural
male
phenomena.
Hatsune
And to this day,
Miku.
those signals appear to violate
Which
our
is like a
current
viral-
scientific understanding of particle
I don't know.
physics.
I don't
These
even know who
radio
that
waves
is.
are being detected from below the horizon, which is not possible to detect radio
But-
signals from below the horizon. I don't know a lot about particle physics, to be honest, but it's just bizarre. What the f is happening, and why don't more people talk about it? Pardon me for continuing to connect all these theories, by the way, but the alien
Oh, no.
geometry radio theory connects to the Nazi theory as well. Some geniuses, theorists, propose that the advanced technology that was allegedly developed at Base 211 during World War II was actually reverse engineered from extraterrestrial crafts. And these geniuses suggest that Antarctica serves as a kind of neutral zone where world governments could interact with alien civilizations hidden completely from the public view and beneath the ice. And there
But I
isn't
made him
really a
like-
lot of
like if
credible
I wanted
evidence,
to, like,
but
I
there
don't know.
is consistent reports of unusual aerial phenomena and some
Not
very unexplained,
have my
unexpected
cameras up or
things.
whatever.
And it does make sense if you were to cast aside all doubt, humans, aliens on the same planet, let's say, and to prevent worldwide hysteria, because I know I'd be hysterical if some alien showed up. I'd be like, ah! Ah! No, I'd handle it, dude. I've been prepping with my little bro here. I would offer him to them. To prevent hysteria, just hang out with them in Antarctica. Just hang out with him in Antarctica. Just don't even worry about hanging out with him like at Trump Tower or whatever the, at Mar-a-Lago or
But yeah, I'll probably watch this
Wendy's or
and,
some shit. I don't know, Disneyland.
probably get into some
hang out with
Splitgate.
him where nobody can see, and then there will be no problems because no one will see. The public will not know, and it will all be fine. There's also the Hollow Earth theory, which I need to make an entire video about this because there's a lot of really interesting sub-stories in and around the Hollow Earth that are, I mean, they're interesting. Let's be real. They're very interesting. The Hollow Moon, already talked about that. It's scientifically explainable. But the most enduring theory in regard to Antarctica is probably the Hollow Earth theory. It's a theory that suggests our planet contains a habitable inner world, which is accessible through openings at the poles. One in the south, it's where Admiral Byrd flew his little suppository craft in, and one at the north. There are several pieces of evidence that geniuses point to when discussing the Hollow Earth. Admiral Byrd's alleged alien encounters, number one, unusual aurora phenomenon in Antarctica
kind of annoying
and
'cause I have
magnetic
to have,
anomalies
like,
that
it on
can
the
cause
screen.
navigation equipment to malfunction and satellite imagery that shows missing data around both poles. So it's like, they're hiding it! Ah! Good! I don't want to know about that shit. I'd rather just be a peon and just love my family and stuff, Life ain't that bad. I don't need to know about aliens. By the way, we checked. The poles are blurry on Google Earth. It's missing blurred data. I'm not sure. That's not what poles look like. I don't assume they look blurry, okay? I don't think you go there and it's all blurred out. There's a lot of blurred spots on the South and North Pole. I don't know. I mean, I guess I know why. Military installation or whatever. Who's gonna...
All right.
Who's gonna...
I should probably just go play Splitgate. I don't know why. I wanted to watch that. I don't know. Can I, change my categories on YouTube? I don't know. I might have to just end my stream real quick. Let's see, live. I don't know how any of this works on YouTube. Shit. Shit! I wish there was a dashboard or some shit. Damn it. I'm such a boomer. I don't know how to